So I have some Holey pants. They're like on the inside seam. They have a hole in it. These are my favorite pants. I have like 10 pair of these pants. I guess you call them yoga pants. So they're very cozy and comfortable, and I wear them for exercise or when it's cold outside, because I basically only wear skirts. Well, when I was in Seattle, I'm just recording some memories. I just got back from Seattle. I was in Seattle, and I found the totem pole that I was looking for. I was so excited. I took pictures. There were some homeless guys, like, camped out by the totem pole. One was, like, talking to himself and having angry expressions, and I paid him no mind. I kept right on taking my picture and video, and because he was, like, shouting out, and I said, don't start with me. You know, I'm always like this, not me. Pick somebody else, And anyway, unfortunately, that's where I realized I had lost one of my AirPods. So I walked to the car to kind of see where I had parked and if I had left it there. And I walked back and I walked back. So I'm already really focused and concentrated. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I lost my AirPod. Because I know I had it that morning, which means I lost it getting in and out of the car. And I have no idea if I'm going to find it. And while I'm at my car looking around, a brother pulls up next to me. I think he was in a truck. He was like, you got a hole in your pants. And I was like, huh? And I was having a moment, which is too long to explain, but I've had two work incidents in my life that were sexual harassment, where a coworker came to me and told me I had like something on my pants, and they used that as an opportunity to touch my butt. And come to find out there was nothing on my pants. Then another time I had a coworker who cornered me in my classroom and kept talking to me and talking to me and talking to me, and just like I couldn't move. And when he finally he said, you have something on your face. And he licked his finger and like touched my face. So I don't know if you call that sexual harassment, but because that happened to me twice, and the second time that it happened, my mind kept flashing back to the first time. He's like, you have something on your face. And I'm like, oh my God. So when this guy came, I'm like, here we go again. He's like, you got something on your pants. You got a hole in your pants. I'm like, what? Because my mind is going, what's he about to do? What's he about to do? What's he about to do? And then, and he's like, you got a hole in your pants. This dude pissed me off. I hope he can see this. Because, like I said, I do have holes in the seams. And I brought the wrong pair. Like, I've had these pants for years. And so they start to wear out eventually. And and I have a bunch of them. So the way they wear out is in the seam, inside my leg. It'll start to, like, open. And because I have so many of them, I never know which one is the one, because I keep having in my mind, I'm going to sew it up. I'm going to fix it because I love these pants. I don't want to throw them away. But when I travel, I knew it was cold in Seattle. I only wear skirts. I don't feel like wearing tights and boots and stuff. So I just grabbed like 3 or 4 of these pants and put them in my bag. And that morning, I happened to put on a pair with a hole in it. And I had every intention of, I was just running out in the morning. I think I had breakfast. I was going to go run and see these totem poles and take pictures of them and come back. That was it. So I didn't care what I had on. The hole is not on my actual butt. Like, you're not actually looking at my butt or my panties. It's in between my legs. So this dude, and I'm like, what? Because I already was flashing back to my sexual harassment moments. So I was kind of like, what? Already on the defensive, like, ready. Like, what? You're not going to catch me. But the funny thing is, and this is why people should always be compassionate to people who have been sexually harassed or abused. Because you immediately go like I froze. Now, I had these 2 incidents before, and the minute he told me that, I was like, but instead of me, I said I was ready to fight. I had a defensive attitude, but my body was more like, what's he going to do to me? Now, what's this guy going to do? And he's in a truck. I mean, I'm on foot. So I shouldn't have been concerned. He wasn't next to me. He couldn't touch my butt or spit on my face like this other guy. But anyway, so and I'm like, what? He goes, you got a hole in your pants. And I'm like, what? And he's like, you got a hole on your pants. What difference does that make to him? And that's why I thought I'd record this moment. One is just reflections. Yes, I'm still in the bed and a mess, but secondly, it told me a little bit about Seattle. Because Seattle, a lot of people kept mentioning, oh, there's going to be no black people there. There's no black people there. And I don't know. I saw black people. I don't know. But it made me think that he, as a black man, seemed to feel like he needed to. I mean, I'm a stranger. What difference does it make to him that I have a hole in my pants? So I wondered, was it a black thing? Was he like, sis, like, you can't be out here looking like that? You got a hole in your pants. I don't know, but these are my reflections on Seattle. That a black man pulled me over when I was in the awe of the totem poles. Oh, and the totem poles. Let me just tell you a little bit about that. So on my first day, my daughter's friend, who I call my friend now, I love him, picked me up from the airport, bless his heart, and just kind of drove me around and showed me a few things very quickly before I got my rental car. So one of the things we drove past was this totem pole. And I was like, whoa, is that a totem pole? It has particular meaning for me. I mean, the timing was uncanny, and I'm not going to even get into on this video why that was such a big deal, but that was a big deal for me. So I'm like, oh my God. And he was kind of quick with it, he's 23, he's 24. So he was like bouncing me around, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I may not see all this stuff, so let me take my pictures right now. I may not get back around to these places. I won't remember everywhere you took me, because it was very quick, no more than 30 minutes, but he showed me like different, like, I guess, attractions. So I wanted him to double back so I could take the picture, and he did not. This is not a complaint. I love him, but he did not. So I chose to, on like my first day, after I went to bed and got up, I said, okay, I'm going to go back to the totem poles. Because remember, they were very important for reasons I'll explain somewhere else at some other time. So I would go back. I figure out where he had taken me. And I go back. And they're not there. I don't see the totem poles at all. That was weird. Because I know where he showed them to me. So then I go into Google and I type in totem poles in Seattle or whatever. I put it in the maps. And sure enough, because the maps will take you to anything. I wonder if I put in Masters Plantation in maps, where I would end up. Because you put something in maps, it's going to find it. So I think I put totem poles and maps, and it took me to Pioneer Square, which is where I was staying. And there was a totem pole there in this little, very small, like, cutout of a block, like a triangle in the middle of the city. And there's a totem pole, and there's a little bit of grass. And then there's some benches on which the homeless people were sleeping. And it's a great big totem pole. So I take a picture. I am fascinated. Okay, I take a picture. I take close-up pictures. I tried a selfie video, which never works out well. I tried to take a selfie. I'm sure that didn't work out well. And I look at this pole, and I take a picture where I got the whole pole in my picture. And on the way home, a few days later, I'm still completely fascinated by these totem poles. So on the airplane, I'm downloading and watching videos about totem poles in Seattle. Well, that one that I was taking a picture of had been stolen by colonizers from Alaska and propped up in their square. Like they just took it from some Native Americans in Alaska because they liked it and they felt it was a trophy, a win, a gain. I don't know. They said that was a prize, like, just like back in the day, they would chop off people's heads and fingers and stuff as a show of, like, a trophy. Like, I live off of Indian Head Highway, and they say that the name is derived from Euros that came over and carried an Indian's head, put it on a stake as a symbol of, like, accomplishment. So it's really sick how Native Americans have been treated. And I would say in this last little trip, I did 3 places: Mexico City, Houston, and Seattle. I can't say in Houston there was any themes of Native American, but Houston had themes of Mexico, and Mexico had lots of themes of Native Americans, the natives, the indigenous. And then I get to Seattle, and there's all these vestiges of the indigenous people, and I'm like, wow, how did this happen? How did these Native people who still exist get so trampled over? And how come there hasn't been like a karmic flip of that? They say that they were trampled over because their whole mindset was to be kind and share, and and it looks like foolishness. It's like, does love win after all? Because when you are kind and giving and sharing and loving, and it turns into your enemy taking you over and living for years later and robbing and stealing and vulturing you, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a win, but anyway, I digress. So yeah, the totem, I come to find out, was stolen. And then I think over time it decayed, or it was, because it's wood, and it got damaged or something like that, and then they replaced it. They made a replica. So the one I was taking pictures of was a replica. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about the man going, "You got a hole in your pants." I'm like, dude, I know. Can I wear what I want to wear? Like, I'm full grown out here in these streets. Can I wear what I want to wear with or without holes in it? And again, I don't usually wear those. I do sometimes. If I'm running to the store, like I said, I have about 10. So I can throw on a pair and not know till I throw them on that they're the ones that have a hole. And some of the holes are more substantial. So in fairness, the pair of pants that I had on, the hole was pretty big, but it's in between my legs. So he was really paying attention